This is CBC Vancouver News.
Plunging into the next phase of the war in the Middle East, while in BC,
we don't know where they're at. We don't know if what they're eating. We don't know if they get the medication.
Protesters call on Hamas to return the remaining hostages to Israel. And thousands rally in Victoria and Vancouver this weekend in support of Palestinians in crisis. Plus,
it is something that they want to be a part of. They want to peacefully participate in this referendum.
Thousands more Sikhs cast ballots in the second-round Khalistan vote in Surrey. And
make sure that more and more people understand what it is, what the effect or possible effects it could have on the community, as well as the adverse effect to the environment, as well as us and our children.
Concerns over potential health effects on neighbors. Opposition grows louder against a proposed biofuel plant in Surrey. Good evening, I'm Tanya Fletcher. Thank you for joining us. We begin in the Middle East, where Israel's tanks and troops are pushing into Gaza. Its war with Hamas entering a difficult and dangerous new phase. Israel's military says it has launched hundreds of airstrikes in the past 24 hours as forces on the ground advance. Communications within Gaza are gradually coming back online, showing the world the misery of so many Palestinians. The CBC's Susan Ormiston is in Jerusalem with our top story tonight.
The weekend, the war changed. 48 hours of the heaviest bombardment on Gaza yet. And another warning, more urgent than the last, to people in northern Gaza: go south. There's no talk anymore of when the ground incursion will come. It's here. The Israeli military confirming it's expanding its ground operations inside Gaza, sending in more troops, tanks and armor, and fighter jets hitting more than 450 targets over the past day. Benjamin Netanyahu says that his country is in the second phase of this war and predicted over the weekend that Gaza will never return to what it was. Gaza emerged from a two-night blackout, bloodied and desperate. Thousands stormed a UN warehouse storing food supplies, carrying off satchels of wheat flour and hygiene kits. After 3 weeks of near total isolation, the World Food Programme says social order is beginning to break down. Sunday, one of the biggest hospitals, Al-Quds, was ordered to evacuate immediately. The director said he was told the area was going to be a military zone and there would be clashes. With thousands taking shelter there, it was impossible. Multiple strikes did hit nearby, choking patients and damaging parts of the hospital. Israel claims vast tunnels under hospitals harbor Hamas and may hide the hostages they kidnapped. The more Israel hits Hamas, the defense minister said, the more it will be willing to reach agreement on releasing hostages. So far, that hasn't worked, and families of those missing are angry and even more fearful. Vivian Silver, a Canadian Israeli, is believed to be held in Gaza. Her son Yonatan is in Tel Aviv.
You know, soldiers are not surgeons. They can't save one person from I don't think it works like that from the side of Hamas, that they took the prisoners as leverage, and if they lose that leverage, then they don't have use for them anymore. So it seems to me that she is more at risk.
Israel is settling into a long war, active here.
And we are running to the shelter like a few times every night. You cannot sleep.
20 kilometers from Gaza, volunteers coordinate food donations to augment soldiers' meals. You're there for us, we're there for you, the slogan says.
And we are suffering from missiles on our houses for more than 20 years. Got to get to the end.
But few can predict how long or what will come after. Susan Ormiston, CBC News in southern Israel.
Here at home, hundreds of people rallied in Vancouver today with a collective call on Hamas to return the kidnapped hostages.
It is so upsetting, and everything else is taking over, but it's still a family. They're still talking about kids. The youngest one is 9 months old. We don't know where they're at. We don't know if what they're eating. We don't know if they get the medication. We don't know nothing about them.
These organizers circulated images of the some 200 hostages abducted in Israel on October 7th during the initial attack by Hamas. And meanwhile, in Victoria,
we don't want any more loss of life, regardless if you're Jewish or Muslim or Christian. We're all human, and we all deserve respect and empathy, all of us. We're all brothers and sisters at the end.
another rally in support of Palestinians was held outside the BC legislature today. The crowds called for an immediate ceasefire in the Middle East. This protest finished with a march looping around the capital city. A similar pro-Palestinian rally drew hundreds to the Vancouver Art Gallery yesterday. Well, Sikhs from across the province gathered in Surrey to vote today. It was the second round of what organizers call a referendum to create an independent Sikh state in India. The non-binding vote took place at the very Gurdwara where activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar was shot dead in June. As Yasmin Gandam reports, despite a turnout in the thousands, today's vote drew fewer people than the first round.
Thousands of Sikhs gathered for a second round of voting in British Columbia for its unofficial referendum to create an independent Sikh state called Khalistan in India. The first vote in September, as well as this one, organized and overseen by U.S.-based group Sikhs for Justice, a group campaigning for a Sikh separatist state.
We must continue to struggle for our independence, else all of us, irrespective of who we are, will one day maybe face some sort of intimidation and or acts of violence until we become an independent country.
The group says the first event saw over 100,000 people come, so the group deemed a second round was necessary. CBC is not able to verify that claim.
These are the people who didn't get an opportunity last time, so they'll come out, and I mean, the lineups are still forming, and it is something that they want to be a part of. They want to peacefully participate in this referendum, and it's a beautiful thing.
The vote comes after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said there were credible allegations of a potential link between the Indian government and Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar's killing outside the Guru Nanak Sikh Gurdwara in Surrey.
Any involvement of a foreign government in the killing of a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil is an unacceptable violation of our sovereignty.
India labeled Nijjar a terrorist before he died and declared Sikhs for Justice a banned group in 2019. The Punjab Referendum Commission says Trudeau's comments have had an effect on people vocalizing their support for the Khalistan movement.
It works both ways. I mean, some people now are more motivated to vote because they want to show that they will not be stopped from voting. And I do think that there are people who aren't voting because of it. So I think it works both ways.
The vote has been on a world tour since 2021, with more events planned to tap into separatist sentiments in the Sikh diaspora. The vote is not legally binding in India, but the group's ultimate goal is to hold a vote in Punjab in 2025. Yasmin Gandam, CBC News, Surrey.
Opposition is growing over a proposed biofuel plant in South Surrey. Dozens of residents rallied today protesting the potential effects on air quality in the area. As Janella Hamilton tells us, locals are also demanding a full consultation with neighbors before the facility receives final approval.
Hundreds of residents from White Rock in Surrey protested at Peace Arch Park Sunday, about 500 meters from the location of a proposed biofuel plant slated to be built on Semiahmoo land. They worry about the potential long-term effect gases from the facility might have on nearby neighborhoods.
I think we need to lend a voice to this and make sure that more and more people understand what it is, what the effects or possible effects it could have on the community, as well as the adverse effect to the environment, as well as us and our children.
The proposed plant is a partnership between the Semiahmoo First Nation and Andion Global. The facility would be built on a parcel of largely untouched land just north of the Peace Arch border crossing between Highway 99 and Boundary Bay.
This is the biggest wildlife reserve in all of Western Canada, all of Western North America.
David Hancock is a wildlife biologist who has been studying eagles in the area for more than 70 years.
The Little Campbell River that runs through here. It's a small stream, but it's incredibly productive for salmon. And it all is why there are so many eagles here. It's a rich ecological system.
Many say it's the right idea, but the wrong location.
It belongs in an industrial area.
The Semiahmoo First Nation says the project would provide unprecedented economic opportunity.
I certainly applaud the Semiahmoo First Nations for striving and improving their economic activity for their band, but it needs to be done in a way that's more conducive to the neighborhood.
Jim Gauk is a former MP and volunteer firefighter. He lives about 900 meters from the proposed location.
Recently, I found out I had mesothelioma, and one of the things that I have going for me is I live in an area that has some of the cleanest pure air there is, and now they want to build this biofuel.
Andion has acknowledged the possibility of unpleasant smells coming from the plant, but says it would have minimal impact on residents.
They have told us the facility will operate at full force in the winter when we don't go outside.
These protesters say they will continue to rally against the project until there is proper consultation with those who live nearby. CBC News has reached out to both Andion and the Semiahmoo First Nation for comment. Janella Hamilton, CBC News, Surrey.
Let's take you to the island now. And in Nanaimo, local hockey fans got to take on their favorite BCHL players in a charity road hockey tournament today. As Claire Palmer tells us, the first annual Clippers Community Cup raised money for the Ronald McDonald House.
It was a beautiful day for street hockey in Nanaimo. Hundreds turned out to show off their skills for a good cause.
Yeah, I think just being able to support is just something that we don't take lightly. It's just really cool to be out here and for such a great cause, and it really is an honor.
Yeah, I think it's a good cause. Obviously, like I said, giving back to the less fortunate, and it's nice to see kind of them succeed and have that good life that they deserve.
And with such a strong turnout for this tournament, organizers have hopes it might become an annual competition.
The fun of road hockey. I guess, when you look at, all the kids and their involvement and they look up to the sport of hockey and getting to play and meet their favorite players as well, it's pretty significant. So it's a good draw to get the kids involved and get them exercising.
The street hockey tournament is really just bringing out the element of play, which is a big piece of being at the house.
The money raised will go towards the construction and operation of a second Ronald McDonald House in Vancouver. It's a place to call home for families of kids undergoing treatment at BC's Children's Hospital. About a quarter of families who stay at Ronald McDonald House come from the island.
It's really important to branch out to the communities that we actually serve, that families come from. Obviously, we have lots of support in the Lower Mainland, but it's great to serve and be out in the communities that we represent.
It's more about the awareness and strength in numbers, because without the community, these events and the charities are alone.
Over the course of 2023, Inland is hoping to raise $400,000 for Ronald McDonald Charity. Claire Palmer, CBC News, Nanaimo.
Well, the Rain City Bike Crew prides itself on being inclusive and welcoming to all. And this weekend, a few dozen of them gathered in costume for their annual Halloween ride. Take a look.
Just smiles, and that's what I love so much about it. I wear my fluffy helmet cover through the entire month of October, and I've got my lobster costume. Holly Atkins from the Rain City Bike Crew. I started the group back in May of 2020. So when I came to Canada, I moved here 7 years ago, and there was the only motorcycle groups were on Facebook, and I'm not a huge Facebook fan. And I was like, there's got to be an easier way. And every group was like, we ride this kind of bike, or we ride this kind of pace. And there wasn't a group that just kind of like welcomed everyone. And I was like, screw it, like, let's do this. And so I've made this amazing, welcoming, incredible community that's almost 300 people now. And it's just the most vibrant personalities. We allow scooters, we have cruisers, we have sports bikes and cafe racers. and it's just the most incredible community. These people have become my family. I thought we'd get like maybe 4 riders for the Halloween ride. We got like, I think, over 20, so it's absolutely phenomenal. I'm stoked.
You don't get to wear a dress very often.
Especially on a motorcycle.
Thank God.
We're just a big bunch of fun-loving geeks and nerds, and yeah, I think everyone who joins, it's just they finally found their home.
Well, the Halloween spirit was certainly in the air in one particular Surrey neighborhood this weekend.
This is our second year that we've been here. It's an awesome event. There's hundreds and hundreds of kids in different costumes, and they just come up and engage with all the different vendors. It's spectacular. So they trick or treat and they go through the block and just go to the other vendors. So for us, it's a win-win.
Hundreds of costumed families descended on Newton for a community Halloween party this weekend. It was put on by the local Business Improvement Association and doubled as a fundraiser for the Surrey Food Bank. In exchange for donations, everyone got to pick a free pumpkin. Up next, more on the life and legacy of Canadian-born actor Matthew Perry. A day after the Friends star was found dead at his home in LA. We'll have the very latest after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The entertainment world is mourning actor Matthew Perry this weekend. News broke around this time yesterday that he'd been found dead in his Los Angeles home. He's being remembered for his wit and honesty as he openly battled addiction. The CBC's Philip Lishanak has more on the legacy of the Friends star.
I just want to be married again.
And I just want $1 million.
Matthew Perry knew how to get a laugh. Straight-faced, self-deprecating, with perfect timing.
I'm not great at the advice. Can I interest you in a sarcastic comment?
Perry was best known for playing the sarcastic but lovable Chandler Bing on the hit show Friends. For 10 seasons, he brought some of the funniest moments.
He was the closer on Friends. If there was a zinger or a line or an eye roll, they cut to him, and he delivered.
On Saturday, he was found dead in his jacuzzi at his Los Angeles home. He was just 54. It's not clear how he died, but no foul play is suspected. Born in Massachusetts, Perry was raised in Ottawa. His mother was press secretary to Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau. He went to school with his son, Justin. The Prime Minister writing, "I'll never forget the schoolyard games we used to play, and I know people around the world are never going to forget the joy he brought them. Thanks for all the laughs, Matthew." A day later, fans are still shocked.
We were hoping it was not true. We're still in disbelief. But it's sad. He was so young.
I've managed to upset a mass murderer.
Perry also starred in various film and television roles, but none achieved the level of success as Friends. His Friends co-star, Maggie Wheeler, who played Janice, Chandler's sometimes girlfriend, writing, "I feel so blessed by every creative moment we shared." Perry also battled addiction for most of his life.
The alcoholism did not care that I was on Friends.
Speaking about his memoir released last year, he told the CBC's Tom Power that he hoped sharing his journey could help others.
When I die, I don't want Friends to be the first thing that's mentioned. I want that to be the first thing that's mentioned.
For many, a beloved, funny friend gone too young who will be deeply missed. Philip Lishanak, CBC News, Toronto.
A former NHL player has died in a gruesome accident on the ice. 29-year-old Minnesota native Adam Johnson took a skate to the neck during a British Hockey League game. As the CBC's Jennifer Yoon reports, his death is prompting renewed calls to make neck guards mandatory for all leagues.
And Adam Johnson back for Aston Reese.
Former Pittsburgh Penguin Adam Johnson played for the Nottingham Panthers in England's elite league until a tragic accident this weekend. During a Halloween-themed matchup, his neck was severely cut by a skate in a freak collision with another player in front of thousands of shocked fans, including kids.
The players went straight to him, everything stopped. Two girls on the row in front of me were like going to the mum, as he died. And she couldn't really answer.
Officials ended the game and cleared the arena, but medical personnel could not save Johnson's life. In a statement, the Panthers say the team is heartbroken, and they're not the only ones, as the incident raises new questions about safety.
It's obviously hits, real close to home for me because, I almost died from the same accident.
Former NHL player Clint Malarchuk suffered a similar injury when he played for the Buffalo Sabres back in 1989. Malarchuk says his mom saw it happen on live TV, and now he's thinking about what Johnson's family must be going through.
I just can't put it into words how it must be for them, and the kids from Minnesota, a big hockey state, and the whole hockey world's been affected by this for sure.
Others say this tragedy only highlights the importance of wearing protective equipment like neck guards, including this former junior player who also suffered a similar injury.
I got about 25 stitches on the side of my cheek. I keep saying that I'm lucky, but again, I think it was just because I was wearing a helmet and the proper equipment that I needed at the time.
In the NHL, some players choose to wear neck guards. We reached out to Hockey Canada, which says neck guards are mandatory for all players in minor hockey and in the Women's League. Jennifer Yoon, CBC News, Montreal.
You're looking at a live shot of Canby Street with City Hall there in the background. So that clear and cold weather continues to blanket BC. We'll find out when the rain is set to return, though, with the 5-day forecast coming up next.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell. Here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox.
With the changes to how Canada is able to access journalism online and on social media, we want to assure you that when you're looking for CBC News, you'll always be able to find us. Wherever you are in BC, local news, breaking stories, and the latest from around the world is at your fingertips any time of the day with the free CBC News app and online at cbcnews.ca. Download the CBC News app and stay connected wherever you are.
And it's time for a look at the full forecast. We'll start with those current temperatures. They are chilly right across the province. Pretty much everywhere is going to see negative digits overnight, and then we can already see around that freezing mark even on the south coast here. And as we zoom out across the province, you can see that blue really representative of that Arctic air mass. It's still firmly in place across Western Canada. In fact, we are still very cold for this time of year. Here's our overnight lows for tonight. You can see mostly negative digits right across BC, and this is very unusual. Even Vancouver will dip to -1 overnight, and it's still October. So we are in for a chilly couple of days as well. Here's the forecast for tomorrow province-wide. Barely cracking double digits anywhere except for on the south coast. Cranbrook especially, take a look there. The high is 0. Normally, it should be 7, 8, or 8 degrees on the plus side for this time of year. So same for Kamloops, Kelowna. They're around average for our daytime highs. That is kind of the pattern province-wide. Daytime highs are fairly seasonal, but it's those overnight lows that are anywhere from -3 to -10 degrees below normal. Here's the 5-day forecast for Vancouver. We will stay clear and sunny with those a little bit cooler temperatures for at least another day before the next round of rain is set to move in for the rest of the work week. That is your late news for this Sunday, October 20th. For news anytime, anywhere, you can download the free CBC News app. You can always find us as well at cbc.ca/BC. Your next local newscast is on the early edition on CBC Radio 1 starting tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. Thank you so much for watching this weekend. Good night.